I don't have a topic for this video, but prior to this video, I was just speaking, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just stop and record this. You know, I was talking to myself about the different times in my life that stood out to me the most, like the most difficult times in my life, the times in my life where I'm like, you know, why did this happen? And I always talked about, when I was homeless and I was walking back and forth and reflecting, and I'm like, wow, like the time I was homeless, that actually wasn't the worst time of my life. That wasn't the worst time of my life. That was the time of my life I was probably the most like resentful. Like I resented God, I resented myself, I resented my family. That was the time of my life where I feel like a victim of my circumstance. I felt like I just, why was this happening to me? That was my mindset. And at that age, I was like 22. I was 23 at the time. My mindset back then was like, why me? Like, why is this happening? I don't deserve this. I tried so many things, and granted, I did. I dropped out of college. I had a YouTube channel blow up at 200,000 views. I did skits, drop shipping. I stayed in my office. Like I was trying. I've always been a trying person. I started entrepreneurship like, I don't know, 20 years old, but I've always been trying different side hustles and things and studying and reading books. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and that was that time of my life where I felt like a true victim of my circumstance. I had a lot of resentment, and now when I think about another period of my life that was that difficult, I think about the time of like, I think about the time where like, my best friend got into an accident. My mother got into an accident, and it happened at the same time. My brother and my mother got into an accident, but my brother, he got into like a life-changing event that happened. And that moment of my life, everything was happening all at once. Like I don't know if I was doing cold calls or I was like doing social media marketing, and nothing was fucking working. And I'm in my apartment. I hardly had furniture. I had these two cats. Yeah, I just heard them at the time, and they were like running all over the place, and I'm like stressing the fuck out. And like my job was like taking our shifts. I used to serve food back then, and I found out, like my brother's in a coma, something going on with my mom. And I'm like all the way in Los Angeles on top of a hill all by myself is where I used to live. I didn't really have any neighbors my age. They were all older. It's quiet ass hill with these cats and they're meowing. And at that time, like this girl I was seeing at that time, she just couldn't like support me in the way that I needed. I was hurt. I was angry, and I don't blame her because she didn't grow up how I grew up. She wasn't exposed to certain things, you know what I'm saying? But it's like I didn't have anyone there immediately to comfort me in the way that I needed. I just needed some emotional grounding and support. I didn't have that. I didn't have that. I didn't have that, bro. So I just went for walks. I meditated. I prayed. I didn't have that. That was a time of my life I was very like angry. That was probably the most angriest time of my life. And then fast forward, I become a success. I grow my social media marketing agency. I start going viral with my manifestation journals. I get paid to move out of that same apartment, because even around that same time, like when I was that angry, like the landlords at that time were trying to harass everybody, trying to get us to move, and they just were trying to find like illegal ways to try to evict us or take us to court. I had to find a lawyer, or like I was living from check to check almost trying to save, and it was just always just something, you know what I'm saying, around that time period. So that really developed my character. So when people look at me and they're like, how do you manage stress? How do you keep going? And it's like, hey, you don't see that, like, the majority of my life, I felt like I was drowning. You don't see that. Like, people don't see that. They just see what the person shares. Granted, even on my social media, on my Instagram, I'm always sharing like the hard times. Like, you see me in my little 300 square foot apartment, like praying, like on my bed. Like, that's what I show people. I show people because like that's the real trophies. Like, those are the moments I'm gonna remember. I don't really care so much about the time when I got my first $1,000 sale or my first $2,000 sale, or I don't really entirely care about that. I look for the moments in my life where I'm like, damn, I didn't know how I was gonna get out of this shit for real. I couldn't see the path. Like, I was really fucked up. I was really like, but I kept pushing. I kept going. I kept trying. Like, I didn't know who to call. I just felt like I had to. Like, what else am I gonna do? What else am I like? I don't understand the idea of like stopping, of quitting. That doesn't make sense. Like, to quit means to die. Like, I never looked at my life like, if this doesn't work, I gotta stop it. I never looked at my life. It's like, if this don't work, I gotta make something else work. I don't got no other option. I'm not working a regular job. That's not me. It's not in my personality. I've tried it. I've worked all these jobs, tried all these things. At some point, you don't identify, it's hard. It's hard to do that. Like, for an entrepreneur, for them to do certain things, they can't do it. And it's the same thing for a regular person who's always worked a job. Tell them to do a risk that a regular entrepreneur does, and they can't do it. They freeze up. Their mind is shot. That was me. It didn't matter what situation I was in. Like, my mind isn't programmed to just sit still and just like, oh my gosh. No, I'm like, yo, like, I gotta keep pushing. I gotta try something else. I gotta pray, affirm myself. I gotta journal. I gotta think. I gotta see it happening in my mind. I can't just sit still. Didn't matter what situation I was in. It doesn't matter what situation you're in. It's like, you gotta. I learned over time to like move like water, bro. You gotta adapt. You gotta keep going, no matter what the situation is. And this is just a conversation I had. I was just walking back and forth because I was just working, and I was just sitting still for a while and just scrolling, and I just called myself and I stopped, and I just started going for a walk. It's easy for you to, start having that negative self-talk, what if this, why this, what if I would have kept doing this, why, it's like, but everything is happening for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So when I look at my life now, it's interesting because I'm put on this new path. 2025 is a 9-year. 9 is the number of new beginnings, but also the end of a cycle. I'm looking at my life like, wow, like, I really got to this point in my life. I did everything, and I went through everything to get to this point in my life. How special is that? This moment is special. 2-3 years ago, I was praying for a new moment. I'm right here. I was just reflecting, like, I'm here. Where is here? What is here? And I'm just like, I've just evolved so much. But this moment of time in my life right now is a very unique moment because it's like, I found myself meditating more, praying more, reflecting more, asking God for clarity more, And this moment of time, like within the past month, 2 months, it hasn't been a time in my life where I feel like a victim. I don't feel like a victim of my circumstance anymore at all. I've evolved past that consciousness. This is a time in my life where I'm like, wow, like, it hurts a lot of like my pride. I feel like my pride has been hit a lot because I guess I thought I would be in another place by now. And the pride thing is like, I feel like I built everything up and God quickly closed those doors that took me so long for me to build. And then he put me on a new path. And then that new path, I started working with people. And then all of those clients, they just vanished. They all just vanished. Being a coach is like one of the most frustrating things that you could do, because when you help people, I'm not working with a business anymore. So you could work with someone and you don't even know if they're going to return that next month or next month, or if they're going to pay on time. So I've just been trying things out, trying this, learning this, trying this, because again, you just got to keep flowing like water. If something don't work, then you got to keep trying. Like, you got to find a new way for it to work. You got to find something else. And I found that right before the new year. I found it. So I've just been working towards it. You know, the message of this video, if I can, you know, have a core message, is like, life is perfect. Life gives you everything you need so you can become the person that you need to become. You know, because when I look at my life, before I moved to Los Angeles, before I went through everything, before the businesses and the success and the homelessness and the struggle, like that part of my life where I struggled, because I struggled when I was growing up for sure, but like before this whole past 3-year experiences, now it's the fourth year. So those 3 years, that old me is now dying, it's all gone. This is the new me, 2025. But before that entire experience, I remember I wrote a letter to God and I said, give me riches or give me death. And I was willing to do anything to become a specific type of person. So when I look back on my life, it's like, wow, like, I asked myself, if God wanted to make someone of pure influence, of every influential person, he's going to break that person. He's going to break that person. He's going to teach him leadership. He's going to teach him courage, to be courageous. He's going to teach him how to be fearless. He's going to teach him how to be empathetic, how to connect with people, how to be kind. He's going to teach him all these skills you can't get in school. You can't just pay someone to teach you. You got to go through life for you to evolve and adapt and try and fail and try and fail and try and fail for you to become this version. He's going to mold you. He's got to mold you. He's got to break you in order to make you. So when I look back on my life, at this point in my life, I was on a phone call with my friend, and he's just hearing everything I've been trying. And I tell him, I'm like, yo, like, why do you think I went through everything that I did? Why do you think it didn't take me a short amount of time for me to become super successful like all these guys online? Why do you think that? And I say to him, it's because God has a very unique path for me. Because if you ask God to make you influential, true influence, leader, a commander, do you think that's going to happen overnight? He's got to break you to make you. He's got to make you into that person. So I don't know who's watching this. I don't know, what it is that you're trying to create in your life, but you might be praying for something, but God is trying to build you into the person. So have faith. 2025 is going to be an amazing year. I feel it. I feel it in my soul. And I'm coming back on YouTube. I know I haven't been posting so much, but thanks for watching.